Hello and good afternoon, all. Welcome to Insight 2020 Sustainable Recovery Track. I'm Vidhi Bhatt, Corporate Solutions Manager at Smartkarma. With me, I have Esther An, Chief Sustainability Officer at City Developments Limited. Hello, Esther.
Hello, hi, good afternoon.
It's a privilege to start our discussion on sustainable recovery with Esther, an active advocate of sustainability for over 2 decades. She's been instrumental in establishing CDL's leadership in sustainability since 1995. CDL has been on the CDP A list for corporate client actions since 2018 and is ranked the top real estate company on Global 100 most sustainable corporations in the world. A forerunner in embracing the UN Sustainable Development Goals, Esther was conferred the SDG Pioneer for Green Infrastructure by UN Global Compact in 2018. She sits on the advisory board of several global organizations, including World Green Building Council and Asia Pacific Real Estate Association Singapore chapter. She also set up the Saving Glaciers Alliance, galvanizing Singapore companies to help conserve the polar regions, and designed the first ever SDG innovation loan, a 250 million Sing dollar loan issued by DBS Bank for innovations that go towards sustainable development. All this is just the tip of the iceberg. So over to you, Esther, for your presentation. And a final reminder to our audience that we will try to address the questions, as many as possible, after Esther's presentation. Please feel free to post them in the Q&A section.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I think business resilience, sustainable recovery, and sustainable growth are on the top of every business's mind now. So how are we going to really enhance our business resilience moving forward? And I don't need to explain anymore. Every day, you switch on the news, they have almost like no other news except for COVID-19. And indeed, the global pandemic has actually affected the way we live, work, and run our business, and even human behavior. Now, if like someone sneezes, you all run away, and so we can't go out without even wearing a mask. And I think the most important thing now we're looking at is the economies, and as we know that millions of people have lost their job, and share markets have taken a huge beating. And in fact, IMF was also predicting that we are going to experience the worst recession since the Great Depression. So the outlook, it is rather gloomy in a way. But can we allow climate change to take a back seat? And UN SecGens has actually highlighted and reminded the world that as we are fighting, the global pandemic, we can't, neglect the climate emergency. And even, PRICO also highlighted that whether public sector, private sector, investors, people sector, all can play a critical role to help the world to recover from both, climate as well as health emergencies. Innovators, scientists, businesses all have a role to play. In fact, in January, at the World Economic Forum, more than 700 over global leaders have all voted that climate risks are actually investment and business risks. For the very first time in the survey, on the 10 years outlook, top 5 global risks in terms of likelihoods are all climate and environment related. If you look at this chart, that you can see that the global carbon emission have not, seen any downturn even after 2015 with the Paris Agreement. And when we see a lot more action from whether it is international level or national level on the city, on the commitments to reduce carbon footprint, but we have not seen drastic, movement. And most of us, more than 55% of global population are living in the cities. We only occupy 2% of world landmass. Look at our energy consumption, and we also account for 70% of our global carbon emission. Whether you are in the building sector, you are living and working, and also entertaining in a building. More than 90% of our time are staying indoor. So how buildings are managed, how buildings are used, have a very big impact on the carbon footprint. And we all aware that building and construction sector has high footprint, and that also allowed us to move the needle change our business format, the model. So we account for 40% of total energy, related carbon emission. So there are actually quite a number of climate goals, international goals, to guide businesses to towards a low carbon economy, such as the 1.5 business ambitions, launched at the UN Climate Action Summit last September. And of course, at COP25 at Madrid, we all declare that 2020 to 2030 is really a decade of urgent action. Okay. And of course, in the building sector, World Green Building Council is almost like the apex, organizations that have already pushing the advancing net zero target for some years now. And by 2030, all new buildings should be net zero in the world. And by 2050, even old buildings should be net zero. In Singapore, we have a green building master plan that is to green 80% of all buildings by 2030. Along the value chain, financiers and investors play a key driver for change. The UNEP launched a finance investor report last year called The Changing Course. Indeed, whether it is businesses or the capital market, all of us have to look at how we change the course to embrace the principles of responsible investing, responsible lending, sustainable financing, and sustainable insurance. All these will be impacting on the leading listed companies in the world, and the cost and risk of inaction will be very high. At CDL, we are very glad that we have started our sustainability journey since 1995. Allow me to share how we have actually transformed our business, anchor on the 4 pillars, which included integration, innovation, investment, and impact. Okay, just a bit of our core business before I go into the business model. CDL is actually headquarters in Singapore. We were established in 1963 as a developer, residential developer, with only 8 employees. And today we are operating over 100 locations, spanning across 29 countries and regions. And our core business remain as a design and build residential development. We are also a key commercial landlord in Singapore. Globally, we have a hotel footprint of 156 properties and 45,000 rooms. Over the last couple of years, we have set up a fund management portfolio, and we are targeting to hit $5 billion by 2023. This is a value creation business model. Allow me to elaborate a little bit more. At the core of the model is actually the corporate ethos that we established in 1995, which is conserving as we construct. Why we did that is we were well aware of the environmental impact of the building sector. So what we feel that as we are expanding globally, we have to transform our business model that align with probably global best practices in order to engage the global community and institutional investor. So at that time, why we adopt conserving as we construct and manage our property were really based on like risk management, risk reduction, mitigation approach. But over the years, we have also transformed from mitigation to adaptation. And we have also improved and set best practices guideline for ourselves on the environment, health, and safety, and truly integrated into our business. For ESG to work effectively, you can't work in silos. We have to work with all the whole companies and the operations. And we also have to integrate it into the business model and connect ESG with financial performance and impact. Look at all the environment, social and governance performance through the business lens and through the financial lens, and look at how we can articulate ESG performance, how it can actually enhance our natural capital, organization capital, human capital, and of course, ultimately is the financial capital. As a listed company, we always feel that it is we believe firmly that we have the obligation to maintain profitable, because we have to return values to our investors, including some of the retail investors that rely very much on the annual dividends. So we have the obligation to maintain profitable, but not at the expense of people and planet. Since the launch of UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, 17 goals, 169 targets, it is very mind-boggling, but it actually provides a common language for businesses to look at how we can embrace them into our business. And today we have actually embraced 14 SDG, which include, of course, the climate action, innovation, green infrastructure, and of course, we also added, like well-being and health and education, and of course, my pet subject, gender equality. Then last but not least, most important is actually goal number 17, partnerships and engagement to grow a bigger ecosystem. Yeah, and we don't just look at how we perform well in the past or today. We have to look at how we can future-proof our business. So in 2017, we actually launched our sustainability blueprint. We set goals and targets that align with the global goals. For example, SDG, Paris Agreement, TCFD approach, and we also established SBTI validated reduction target. And of course, we also have to communicate with stakeholders. We adopted, of course, since day one, we adopted the GRI, the multi-stakeholder approach, for 13 years now. Actually, we have just published our 13th sustainability report using a blended system now. The core standard is still GRI with the multi-stakeholder approach. We also embrace the SASB's real estate specific standard for this year's report. Then we actually reported not just the current, but we also look at how we track to achieve our future goals and how we integrate it into our business. Strategy is very, very important. And we are able to, really truly integrate sustainability into our businesses because of, thanks to this governance structure. As you can see, that sustainability portfolio reports only to the board sustainability committee, directly playing a strategic role, not just operational role. And I'm also chairing a sustainability committee that cutting across all business and operational units, engaging everyone in the company that they all know what is our ESG goals and targets and how they can contribute together. Here are some of the examples how we proactively, address some of the global and national sustainability goals. For Paris Agreement and 1.5 degree, we have actually we became the first real estate company in Singapore that achieved a SBTI validated target as far back as 2018. And we set ambitious targets to reduce by 59% by 2030. And every year in our sustainability report, you can see the performance. And over and above the annual sustainability report, we also have a quarterly report online that you can track the performance, how we have achieved towards all these goals that we set. And last year, we were very happy to have joined the pioneering batch of 87 global companies to pledge the support of UNGC's business ambitions for 1.5 degree. And for TCFD, we really like the idea of looking into the future. So we conducted the first climate change scenario planning in 2018. At that time, we were looking at 2 degree and 4 degree scenario, a warmer scenario, and looking at both physical and transitional risks. And but after IPCC's report and calling for 1.5 degree, we embarked on the second scenario planning, only looking at 1.5 and 2 degree warmer scenario. And as a supporter of, strong advocate of green building, we are compliant with the Green Mark, standards, and all our office building are actually all Green Mark. All of them are platinum or gold plus standard. And we also built 2 net zero single story building, which I will show later. All the 14 SDGs that we have embraced, we also aligned it with the company's material issue, ESG issue. And setting targets are important, but how are you going to achieve all these targets? And we very much rely on technology, solutions, and innovations. And in fact, we started our materiality study as far back as 2014. As you can see that on the right-hand side, this is actually our latest materiality study results. And you can see that innovation is number one on the list. And with innovation, we can actually, work towards, higher energy efficiency, adopting renewable, and build and enhance our climate resilience, and strengthen our product quality, and also, look at our health and safety standards and all that. And you can see that it is actually very aligned with what the investor, has expressed. And this is a report by Robeco, dated 2017. Innovation management has been, the number one on the ESG issue. So, and all these are some of the examples that we have embraced innovations towards low carbon. And of course, in Singapore's conditions, solar energy is our best bet for renewable. Since early 2000, in our very first so-called eco condo, we have already embraced a small scale of actually solar energy that is to power the whole clubhouse. And of course, over the years, we have improved and enhanced, and then have embraced solar energy more extensively in our commercial property and mixed development, or even residential development. So, and today we have the highest number of Green Mark awarded building, and also have the, quite extensive use of solar energy. Apart from renewable energy, we also look at technology that can help to, achieve game-changing results. And this particular technology is called a prefabricated, pre-finished volumetric construction technology, quite a mouthful, PPVC. And we offer our condominium in 2014. Actually, we offer it as a pilot project to adopt this PPVC technology. Over the 3 years of construction, we have actually saved 55,000 man days and raised productivities by 40%. And in addition, it has also helped us achieve better environment, health and safety performance on site. Technology has to really start really from day one on the orientation of the project, on the drawing board. And as you can see on the right hand side, this Boulevard 88, we are looking at, we're using technology, AI, and simulations to have actually help us to raise productivity gain by about 50% and reduce heat gain by 20%. I mean, we are all living in the tropic. Heat is really the major challenge for us. And Singapore is heating up twice as fast as other parts of the world. And how do we design and build to really, counter heat is one of our top priority. And of course, we need not to have like earth-shaking type of technologies to bring down the temperature. On the left, you can see that this is actually a condo with this 48 unit facing the west, means you have a lot of afternoon sun. We actually build this very tall, 24-story high green wall. Over 1 year study, we have actually helped to absorb heat for the residents behind this green wall up to 3 degrees, and saving the use of air condition, and of course saving energy expenses for them. We don't look at today's technology, we look at also tomorrow. So what can we do, which is actually we look at R&D. We have partnership with Solar Energy Research Institute Singapore. We look at how to combine PVC as well as solar panels, and how we could affect, how we can actually achieve, higher usage of energy, renewable energy, and also improve productivity. In 2016, we inked actually a partnership with National University of Singapore, under which we actually set up 2 labs. One is called the Smart Green Home Lab. The other one is Tropical Technology Lab, and both have just started operations not too long, and but already have started R&D works already. Look at how we can improve the thermal comfort and also reduce noise and anti-fogging. And Singapore is very humid, and we also look at how we can lower the humidity and also lower the bacteria, flooring, and all that. So all these are continual effort, because technology really evolved really fast. And the third pillar is about investment. As a business, we really need funding, and as a listed company, institutional investors are one of our major targets. We are very happy that we have actually communicated very strongly with our responsible SRI funds and all that. And over the last 1 week, we have actually seen quite a number of reports by the leading investors as well as analysts. This is one of the reports showing that green stocks outperform the brown, and the climate indices or ESG indices have actually outperformed their peers or traditional, that adopt a traditional approach. So it actually proved that ESG integration is definitely a business case, and businesses definitely have to embrace ESG in order to enhance their resilience and also accelerate sustainable development, and also communicate effectively with their investors. Sustainable financing has also grown tremendously over the last decade. When it first started in 2007, Asia was never really into the game until only the recent year since 2016. So the global volume has gone up from less than 1 billion in 2007 to end of last year almost 258 billion. And as you can see that in terms of the green bond proceeds usage, about 60% actually goes to the buildings and energy. So in our line of business, which is very important, directly about building, pertaining to energy efficiency as well. So in 2017, actually CDL became the first issuer of a green bond by a Singapore company. So we issue a 2-year senior secured green bond, 100 million. Basically is to return to our investor who has actually believed in us and invest in our, maintaining our Republic Plaza, which is our flagship building, at the highest Green Mark Platinum level. And last year we secure 2 new green loan, 500 million, basically is to green our new development. And at the end of last year, we actually established this new concept called the SDG innovation loan. We combined innovation technology with, sustainable development, and together with DBS. And now there is a little discount elements in it if we can come up with a good innovation that can actually serve any one of the SDG goals. And as we are not just an investee, we are also an investor. We have to, we have been investing into like venture capitals that invest in property, technology, and also, climate technology, and such as the Fifth Wall based in US and the Dragon Rise Capital. And we also selectively invest in solutions that have very good potential. For example, Pupil, that is a real estate AI measurement technology. And Gush is actually our Singapore boys. Actually, they come up with an air purifying paint that we have invested in. Of course, we don't just look at business investment. We also look at community investment. And we have invested in 3 national platforms apart from other initiatives. This is the first one, which was actually called the Green Gallery, located at Singapore Botanic Garden, was opened by our Prime Minister in November 2013. This is actually designed and built with PBVC concept and model. And throughout the, all these years of operation, we rely only on the solar energy with generated from the rooftop of this green gallery. And they are actually hosting exhibition related to biodiversity, greenery, and all that. And it is free entry for all public. And this is one of the exhibitions last year, called it the Singapore Greening Journey, 200 years and beyond. The second platform is actually called the My Tree House. It's a very cute children library. It was also opened in 2013. This is a library that we transformed the old library into something like a fun, children library, where in the center of the library there is really a tree house, and it has become the world's first green library for children, targeting at children from 3 to 12 years old, and it's a partnership with our National Library Board, who actually come up, fill the whole library with 70,000 books and e-books titles that quite a high, more than 30% are focusing on green environment, biodiversity subject. So the kids can really spend time there to to learn about, environmental conservation. And the last but not least, the third platform is called the Singapore Sustainability Academy. Again, this is zero energy. This is really to illustrate how we can build a larger, ecosystem to come together to drive change. And this initiative by CDL actually is involving many NGO, 6 government agencies, and many industry partners. And over the last almost 3 years of operation, we have also attracted some international partners, including UNDP, UN Global Compact, UNDP, and also ABPN and World Green Building Council. This is how it looked like. And it is a single-story building. On the rooftop, we have about 3,400 square feet of solar panels, and also we provide free space for Sustainable Energy Association Singapore to run their office there, and also training courses for sustainable energy management the region. And it is a rent-free space for any partners who want to promote SDG and climate action. And over the last, less than 3 years, we have actually engaged 10 of thousands of people from public, private, and NGO sectors. And these are some of the examples. We engage, the diplomats, government officials, and we just talked about launching the Saving Glacier Alliance last year. In the tropics, a lot of people feel that the polar regions are very far away, and they don't really feel that, why do we need to do anything that, they are so far away. But this alliance is to really to educate people in the tropics that whatever we do, there is an impact on the fast melting glacier and vice versa. And there are also many engagement, almost 3 events per week that we engage the public, our tenants, our home buyers. And these 2 are actually our pets up, project last year. In the center, I don't think we need any explanation for the legendary Dr. Jane Goodall, who was here. We actually hosted a lecture for her. And on the right-hand side, this one is also another legendary Dr. Sylvia who is actually a very accomplished marine scientist, researcher. At 85 years old, she's still actively, doing deep sea diving. And of course, young leaders are our futures. And we actually use our Sustainability Academy, to host events for even young kids from, 6 to 9 years old. We also, engage, young leader, young adults, and, through competition or events. And this is worth mentioning. It is actually called the Yi Generation Challenge. We offer eco champions in the region and send them to climate challenge places such as Antarctica, the Arctics, and also, like Raja Ampat in the center, that is with biodiversity rich marine area. We are not sending them there for holiday. We are sending them there to, have a personal, direct, knowledge of all the climate challenges of these places. When they come back, they are our ambassadors. They hold events, exhibitions, or even concerts and talk, and to engage a larger group of young champions, and to be our future champions, and to advocate climate action. And whatever we do, we look at positive impact. Of course, the main things that we are looking at is to build a bigger community, a bigger ecosystem to champion change. No one organization or no one individual can drive, climate action alone. So we believe in the power of people, and whether they are, business people or young people or even women. On the right-hand side, you can see all those women in green. It's actually our Women for Green network. We want to empower women who are really, playing a key role to drive sustainable business practices at home, at work, or at play. And last but not least, we have to also dish out a very good report card. This is where we can show that our performance, our achievement in the ESG. And trust me that this is a very powerful report card that when we talk to financiers, when we talk to banks and even investors, it shows the track record. It shows that we are not new in this game just because everybody is talking about it. And you can see some of the FTSE we have been included since 2002, and the rest are like all the leading ESG rating, which are very, very powerful endorsement of a company's ESG and commitment. And of course, for those who really want to look at ROI, we also report some of those numbers, that how we embrace, and also achieve savings. And this is actually the last slide already. And we hope that together we can really change the climate, change the future. Thank you.
That's great, Esther. I think that was very, very comprehensive, and that answers a lot of questions that people may have had in the beginning. What is a good way for young companies like startups or SMEs to start including ESG into their businesses?
Okay, for big company, of course, they think that we all have big resources and all that. That's why we can invest in ESG. But for small SME, definitely they have to integrate ESG, because for big player like us, we also expect to partner to invest in companies that have strong ESG and sustainable business models. We want to engage like-minded partners to conserve the environment. So there is actually a strong business case for us to call them for tender. We also look at their ESG performance, not about pricing. You may offer us the cheapest price, but if you don't have good ESG performance, you will not be invited to tender for our business.
That's great. I think it's time for us to wrap up. To the audience, if you have any more questions, please feel free to connect with Esther through our ebook. Her profile is available on page number 47 for any questions that you might want to ask. Thank you, Esther, for your time, and thank you for being such a motivator of sustainability, even at times when people are just looking at pushing the economies further.
Thank you very much. Okay,
thank you. Bye-bye.